Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Trailblazer podcast. Today we have a special guest that I met on my first trip to Africa. And when we met, I knew that without a doubt we were cut from the same cloth. Michael Maingi is a teacher serving as the head of education and deputy director of Edukenya, where their goal is to serve the people of the Mathare slum and to break the cycle of poverty and transform their own community through the purposeful, transformative education of the next generation. He's the father of two twin boys, and he is the man enough facilitator of Membley at Membley Baptist Church in Kenya. I'm excited to have finally been able to make this happen and to just introduce you to my good friend, Michael. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you, William. Asante sana.
Asante sana.
Yeah, when we say thank you so much, it's in Swahili it's asante sana. I really count myself very privileged to be here today for the main purpose of encouraging and us trying to grow men that can be relied upon in the society, men that will be transformational leaders, men that will love other men, and men that will help other men grow. And we are called to work with each other. We really understand each other better than anyone else as men. And for me, what I feel is that it doesn't matter where you are as a man, what age you are, geographically, where you are in the world. Our challenges are almost the same. Things that we find joy in, almost the same. Things that we want to achieve for the community, for the society, they are almost the same in as far as who you define yourself as and whose you define yourself as of. Because if we are of Christ, then as we want godly transformation. So as a godly man, I believe that what I want for men and what you want for men is the same, that men will aspire to live according to the scriptures and also to be positive transformational agents so that we are able to tag along every man in the society. In Man Enough, we say, we leave no man behind. So, yeah, so as William introduced me, thank you for that introduction. Yeah, so I work in Nairobi. Nairobi is the capital city of Kenya. I serve with an organization called Edukenya. I serve as the head of education. Edukenya runs 3 schools in the Mathare slums of Nairobi, Kenya. We have a preschool, we have a primary, we have a high school that is a few miles away from Nairobi. I serve as the head of education and also the deputy director, and also with a very keen interest and passion towards men who are currently my colleagues, and also the boys that we have in our schools, because they look up to us and we cannot afford not to share with them what we have so that they grow into people that are influencing the community positively. I also serve in my church at Membley Baptist as a facilitator of Man Enough program. Man Enough is a 10 weeks program that we have twice a year at Membley Baptist. And this basically is also to come together as men, fellowship together, feed from God's word. And by the time the 10 weeks are over, we've seen a lot of transformation in these men. And after that program, the people around those men, they attest that they have seen a lot of transformation from these men, and also they go and start impacting the community. They look at the world beyond themselves. And so you hear that they are doing 1, 2, 3 things in the society. And basically, that's what brings joy to my heart, to see that I'm a positive influence to my fellow men. Yes.
That's so good, man. That's so good. And you know, it's funny. I always say when you hear the word leadership and people just automatically start thinking of, hey, you're leading a company, you're leading this, or you're actually in the front doing something. And I'm like, leadership is really just how we're going to leverage the influence that God's given us. I always, without a doubt, I tell people, I said, whether or not you decide you want to lead from the front by the way the way you live your life, or whether you're going to just live your life hiding under a rock, you still have influence.
Yeah.
And because when people see you hiding under a rock, the influence is not necessarily a positive one. They're wondering why you're hanging out underneath there and not doing things that are making the world a better place. And when I say the world, I think this is something we always need to remember, is that the world is just the sphere that you've been given responsibility for. It's not necessarily the whole globe. It's just
Mhm.
where you have been given authority and responsibility for. I mean, for you, obviously, it's edukenya, and it
Mhm.
is on your heart to see the men of your community step up and become the leaders they're called to be. And which is why I wanted us to connect on here, because when we, like I said in the intro, when we connected and you started sharing your heart to see the men of your community, the men of your church, the young men that you're educating through edukenya become these leaders, become these men that are driven through the values, through their Christian values of understanding who they are, created in the image of as God, and living that out. It just it tugged at my heart. It spoke to everything that I absolutely love and am passionate about. It's the way it's the filter I use to make decisions in every aspect of my life, from my marriage to my children to my work to my coaching business to everything that I do. So
Mhm.
I'm just excited to have you here today and kind of tell your story. So one of the things I always like to do when we do this is, I really think it's important people get an idea of, hey, where it all started. And so
Mhm.
what was it like for you, growing up? I mean, where did you grow up? Can you just maybe share a brief overview of, just kind of what it was like growing up for you? And obviously you're from Nairobi. What'd your mom and
Mhm.
dad do? What was it like growing up? Were you an athlete, soccer player?
Okay, wow. I'll say that I was born in Nairobi, and then after a few maybe months, let me say months, I went to live in up country with my mom because my dad worked in Nairobi, but my mom was not working, so she was the one staying with us in up country in a place called Meru. So I grew up in Meru from 0 years to around 7 years. And that's when I came to Nairobi. When I came to Nairobi, I landed in a place called Majengo. Majengo is one of the slums in Nairobi. So I grew up in Majengo in a slum. I serve in Mathare in a slum. And for me, I say, growing up in Majengo, which was a slum, I used to feel like we are very disadvantaged because I think the conditions in an African country slum, the conditions are very poor, whereby things that we take very normal and as a right, nothing in an African slum is a right actually. You don't know, you can't speak about human rights in a slum because we experience a lot of torture every day. Girls are being raped like on a daily basis. Young men are being killed. A lot of extrajudicial killing every day. Young boys are being killed. There's a lot of drug peddling. There are so many vices that happen in a slum that you think that, and now as a child growing there, you feel like that's the normal way of of leading your life. So I came to Majengo when I was 7 because there was an opportunity for me to be sponsored with an organization called Compassion International. So for that opportunity to be realized, I had to relocate from living with my mom in Meru to come and live in Nairobi with my dad. So I was a sponsored child with Compassion International from 7 years until when I cleared my training as a teacher. So I lived there with my dad from age 6 until I was an adult. I went to a public school. While in school when I was young, first I cannot say I really enjoyed my childhood so much because number one, I didn't take it well being separated from my mother at a very early age. And now living with my dad, there's quite a lot I had to do for myself, which at that age, I think there should have been an adult at least helping me do a few things here and there. So I wouldn't say I really enjoyed my childhood, especially from when I was separated from my mother to until when I was maybe an adolescent, where I could easily take care of, of myself. And now, also when I came to Nairobi, because I was quite young and my dad seemed a bit busy, I lived with a family that we considered a family friend, but now also in this family there were children my age, and actually I knew that I didn't belong there originally. So when the kids of there's a sense of entitlement in children, like when they want something, they'll throw tantrums here and there, and they'll get away with it or get what they want. I couldn't do that because that was not my home, that was not my family. But I would see the children of the family do this, get quite so much, and for me, I couldn't do that because I knew this is not my mom. Though she was very accepting of me, she really loved me, but I knew I had a mother. I knew I I was I traveled from somewhere to come and live with this family. So basically, that really affected me. I think it's something that even at this age, I don't think like I really have like dealt with it fully. I felt like it was a bit unfair for me, but I thank God because sometimes I sit and look at those situations and the children I deal with now, the place I serve, and I say, maybe God was preparing me for what I do today. So I was a very average child in school. I was not the brightest, but also not the worst. I was somewhere in the middle. And I was a lover of soccer. I still love soccer a lot. I played football in primary. When I went to high school, I still played football. And also in college, I played football until to date. I still play football. That is soccer. We call it football in Kenya. But I understand sometimes I speak from some of us from America, and they call it soccer, but we call it football. So I grew up in Majengo, and then I went to high school. And now when I went to high school, also I was a very normal boy. And in slum, I think we have this culture of a short, sweet life. So by 12, by age 12, 13, there is a lot of pressure for boys to start fending for themselves. There's a lot of pressure for boys to start taking responsibility over their lives, and also for the girls. And so boys get into crime at a very early age. So like from age 12, I started losing friends to crime because now they are strong enough, and they feel like they can attack people and run away with their belongings. So that is where I began losing my friends. And then now there was the wave of, now there was, as I was losing friends because of crime, some going to jail, others were being shot dead, others, you're just, you get into a space where you are beaten by mob justice to a place where you are spending months in hospitals. Then when I was transitioning to high school and a few years in college, there was that wave of terrorism. Like Majengo was like I'll say the place where everything was starting. So there was a lot of recruitment for young men to also join terror groups, and I unfortunately I saw a good number of my friends join terror groups, and at the end of the day, they will end up dying because of them just choosing to become enemies of the state, and also going ahead and sometimes they would be the one, like you are tied with the bombs, and then you go and you die. You bomb a place, but you die in the process. I witnessed that growing up, and the prayer was, God, please get me out of this place. I don't know where I wanted to go, but I was feeling this is a place that I don't want to find myself in this environment. So I grew up that way until I finished my high school. I became a teacher. And now when I became a teacher, I found myself in a very similar environment, like the one I had grown up in. And so we began the journey of transformation with edukenya. So when I speak about men and when I hold men dear to my heart, is because I know what a young boy who is not loved or does not feel loved, a young boy is not guided well, a young boy is not mentored, what they can end up becoming.
That's an amazing story. I mean, just the fact that you were able to persevere and continue moving forward and just not allowing yourself to fall into these beliefs that this is as good as it gets. Like this is all there is. And so I'd have to ask, like, where did that come from for you? Was your mom and your dad, were they believers? Did they know Jesus, and did they impart that relationship in you that kind of gave you that foundation? Or where did that come from that just kept you going back to saying that prayer that you were talking about? God, get me out of here. Where was that foundation built?
I'd say one, it's from home, because my parents, my family, uh, especially my parents, they were believers, and they were very strict. They were strict with church and with faith, and in their daily communication, they we grew up in a family where parents tagged God in everything. Like, even it was, if God allows us, if God blesses us with. So you grow up knowing that there is God who blesses, there is God who gives, there is a God that we pray to. So from that very young age, I was grounded in Christianity, and also now when I was enrolled in Compassion, there was a lot of biblical exposure that we were given, and I thank God for that, because since I think I was around 10, I became a sponsored child with Compassion, and there was a lot of exposition to the Word of God. And my father also, when growing up, my father was very intentional with his faith and our faith, because even though he had his own imperfections, like we knew that Sundays were non-negotiable. Sundays we had to go to church. So I grew up with that foundation of believing that there is God, and when we pray to God, God hears our prayers and He answers our prayers.
Man, that's so good. And I don't share this often, but our stories have very similar paths. I mean, I grew up in a family that went to church every Sunday. I mean, yes, my parents were separated, but we went to church, and I didn't make the best decisions as I got older. I made a lot of bad decisions, but I can look back over the years and can remember always going back to the foundation of, God, I'm sorry for what I did last night. Please just be with me, forgive me, love me. And knowing where I'm at now and what he's doing in my life as a husband, as a father, as a leader, as a man, I know without a doubt it was all those times when I was just going back to him and saying, "Hey, get me out of this."
Mm.
And he did it. So it's awesome to hear that from you and know that, to just share how important that is for everybody who's listening here, is just to know that you have to have a foundation in a relationship with with your heavenly Father. And if you don't, then you can get on that path now. It's never too late, but it will shape the trajectory of your future and give you everything that you need. Let me ask you a question. What would you say is probably one of the most particular moment or experience that you had during this time that just really significantly shaped the trajectory you're on now?
When growing up or after I became a teacher?
Well, let's start with growing up, but then also I want to hear after you became a teacher.
So I'd say when growing up, there isn't much to look forward to or to say, I want to grow up and become this or that. I wouldn't say that I knew I wanted to become a teacher. I wouldn't say that even by the time I was doing my high school, I cannot say that I wanted to be a teacher. You see, there are conditions that life places you, and the only option you have is to run with what is available. So when I cleared my high school, things were very difficult. And now, because I was a bit older, I was offered an opportunity to become a part-time teacher at Compassion. So I was a sponsored older child, but I was teaching the younger ones. And that is where now, at least, I felt a sense of purpose. I felt, oh, wow, I'm doing something. And the kids were enjoying having me as their teacher. The young boys there were looking up to me, and even when we had issues like with our boys, I would be called to come and speak to these boys. But I never knew where this would lead to. But for me, I just enjoyed that sense of purpose I had been given, because at the end of the day, here we are. You don't know what to do after high school. And then so one day my uncle visited, and now while we were speaking with my uncle and I was explaining to him what I've been doing, that's when he asked me whether I would wish to be a teacher. Personally, I would take, at that time, I would take anything, because taking that was better than where I was. So maybe had he come and asked me, would you like to be a nurse? I would still have said yes. Would you like to be a driver? I would still have said yes, because where I was at that time, anything that would give me a sense of purpose, I would have accepted it very fast. And that is where I say, for me, becoming a teacher I think for me, I keep on saying that there is a reason why God wanted me in this space, because it is a space that I never chose. It is a space that circumstances actually gave me that opportunity, and I had to jump over that opportunity. So I'd say it's all about the importance of at least having people that would purpose to take interest in young ones, in people that are growing. You can cause a lot of transformation in their life, because had I not been given that opportunity to be a part-time teacher at Compassion, I wouldn't, maybe we wouldn't be sitting here today. So for me, I'd say what has gotten me where I am today, there's a lot I've done after getting the opportunities, but the opportunities were brought by just people used by God to come and ask me, can I take this? Can you do this? So there was a lot of also input by specific men in my life that gave me these two opportunities. Number one, to be a part-time teacher, and number two, to help me join a teacher's training college. Those are the men that actually now gave me that space of getting into a career. First, I saw it as a career, but now getting into an environment where I can actually be an agent of transformation. So it's purely people being used by God to enable me be in a space that has led to even us having this conversation today.
Yeah, that's so good, man. Thank you. Can you share with us a story of maybe just like a significant milestone, just or an achievement or and it could obviously an achievement could be anything. It could just be an amazing story of a student that you had or in your career as an educator and a leader at Edukenya.
Now I have many. It's about my students.
Yeah. I mean, that's to me, I know that would be the stories I tell, would be where I mean, I'm not going to be judged by things that I've done. It's going to be judged by the things that people that have done around me that I've just encouraged and believed in, that's the true mark. It's not the things that I've done. It's the people that have done what they've done around me. So for you, I mean, what would you say is one of those great stories, those milestones or those achievements in your career where you look back and go, man, like I'm just so glad. I'm so proud of this moment.
For me, I think I currently have a colleague who was my student. I don't know whether I've shared this with you, but currently I have one of our teachers who was my pupil from, I think, the lowest grades. Even I think in their first class in primary school, they were my learners, and I thank God, because actually I served for only 3 years before I became a head teacher. And you see, when God gives you spaces to serve, and when He gives you spaces where your input really matters, because now when you become a head of a school, you have that space to make decisions here and there, and those decisions can be termed as final. Like a head teacher has a really huge role in retaining a learner in school. Let me say, like for our school. And this young boy was going through a lot. He was in a space where you look at him and you are like, I don't know how we are going to do these 8 years, because he has to be in primary for 8 years. Looking at him, you are walking the journey together, but you don't know how he is going to do the 8 years, because you are trying to link the challenges at home and the expectations at school. you are not able to see how he's going to do the 8 years. So now when you see him do the final year in primary school, you are like, oh, wow, at least we achieved this.
Mhm.
But I don't know how he will go beyond primary school. And then you see a boy go to high school, they thrive, and then they come back and they say they want to serve our little ones.
Mm.
For me, that that when I see that young man today, he is my friend. For me, those are some of the spaces where I feel God did his work. And I was part of seeing this transformation where you are working with people. You cannot tell what you or them or anyone did, but you can see how they have thrived. It's
Mhm.
only God who is capable of enabling such a miracle to
Mhm.
happen. So whenever I'm thinking of what have you seen God do, what are you proud of? What are the people you are proud of? I'm proud of that young man because
Mhm.
he's teaching the very young ones where men really struggle. Even when it comes to the teaching profession, most of the time we assume that the kindergarten is for the female teachers, but he's there and he's thriving. So for me, if I captured your question well, I'll say that is the perfect example that I can speak about.
Man, I think that is the perfect example. I mean, knowing that you had a that you were given the opportunity by God to mentor, to teach this young man and to see him progress through the years from a little boy into the man that he is today and the teacher and knowing that he is continuing that circle, continuing that process that you started him on. It just really speaks to who you are as a man, but also speaks to your legacy, which is just absolutely amazing. So thank you for sharing that. So,
Karibu, karibu.
caribou, asante. Uh, just so everybody know, caribou means you're welcome or welcome.
Yes.
Asante means thank you. Uh,
Yeah.
so the podcast is called Trailblazers, and you know, trailblazers mean someone who creates a path through the wilderness for others to follow. And I love that. I love the visual that goes along with that. And so you're on this podcast and here because without a doubt, I believe that the way you lead and live your life, you do as a trailblazer. So as a trailblazer in your field, what do you hope to continue to achieve and contribute to?
For me, I really want to. I want, like, I was speaking to a friend yesterday, and I was telling her that one of the one of the gifts I feel God has given me is that when I spend time with people, uh, they feel better. We leave each other when they are feeling more encouraged because of our conversations.
Mm,
And also, I'm able to see strengths in people that maybe they are not able to see it. And if they are seeing it, I'm able also to help people unpackage
mm,
so that they are able to thrive within their God-given strengths and talents. And basically, for me, I'd say that is what I want. God has given me a space where already I'm doing that because every day I really want to empower. I want to empower His creation. I love the boy child. I love my fellow men, but also I have dear sisters that I care about and love so much. And for me, just serving them is what brings a lot of joy to me. So I'd say, as a trailblazer, for me, I want to offer myself for his kingdom, and that is by empowering those that I'm blessed to share a space with. So basically, it's me allowing God to use me. It's me allowing God to use me to be an agent of transformation.
That's good. I love that, man. As a coach, as a leadership coach, one of the questions I always like to ask clients, or even when we're working with a business, is how do you want people to feel when they're interacting with you? And I think that the what you just said is exactly the kind of answer that just speaks to not only your values, but your guiding principles. Like, you look at people and you want people to feel empowered and valued when you leave them, and seeing what they see. I know I pray all the time, God, break my heart for what breaks yours. And he just gives me this vision, because and that vision is the men of this world, or at least in my world, in the, my sphere of influence, not living
Yeah.
up and being the men that they're called to be. And when I see them, I don't see them as not living up. I see them for who they can be. I almost feel like God gives me this vision, this ability to see them through his eyes, and not what they see when they look in the mirror. Because I can remember, I know what it's like some days to get up in the morning and look in the mirror and just feel like, man, I just don't have what it takes. And that's not true. It
Yeah,
is not
yeah.
true. And I have to fight back that voice, because it's not God's voice. It's not my heavenly Father, because that's not what a dad speaks to a son. That's not what you would say to your son, and I know that's not what I would say to my son. So, well, man, I would love to talk and share a little bit about edukenya. I want our listeners to be able to understand what exactly edukenya does and is. So, can you tell us a little bit about not just your role at edukenya, but what is the the mission and the overall vision for edukenya, and what are some of the exciting things you guys have going on there?
Okay, so edukenya is a very exciting institution. Basically, for us, we want to transform the community through quality education. We want to give learners, children that are quite underprivileged, that come from dysfunctional families, come from a quite hard environment, backgrounds. We want to give them quality education. And through this quality education, we believe that they are going to transform the Mathare slum of Nairobi in Kenya. So our mission basically is that we shall be able to see these children, as we interact with them, become those agents of transformation. But we are doing that as we really anchor our drive from God, because we say that we are driven by the love of Jesus Christ. So one, our drive is Jesus Christ and a desire to glorify God. So everything that we are doing in the Mathare slums, first, we are driven by the love of Jesus Christ. Now, how do we unpackage the love of Jesus Christ? It's that love that even when we were still sinners, Christ died for us. How let's just imagine of that love where it's not a give and take. Huh? They loved us so much that he had died for us. Our desire is for God to be glorified. So we are not doing it for us. Edukenya doesn't exist for anyone. For us, our desire is that God will be glorified. And that is why we point our children, we point our families, we point our community to Christ. Even when they come saying, thank you so much, Mike, you did this for me. Were it not for you? Were it not for the organization? Were it not for edukenya? we tell them no, we point them to Christ. We tell them Christ had a purpose for us to be here so that we are able to minister to you. So Edukenya has a preschool, it has a primary school, and it has a high school. I don't know how do we interpret that in your system?
That's
But
about the same. So primary
it's
school for us is it's elementary and middle school, which is first through sixth, and then you have junior high school, which is 7 and 8. But primary for you is first through eighth, correct?
yes, but currently with a few changes, we are now saying that primary is 1 to 6, and
Okay.
then we have junior secondary from 7 to 9, and then
Mhm.
we have high school from 10 to 12, and then they join the tertiary level.
Mhm.
So
How
it's
many?
like we are, yes?
No, I was going to say I was going to ask you about how many students you have in each level, but go ahead and finish what you're saying.
Yeah, so I'll say currently we have kindergarten and grade 1 to 12, and those are the people that we are serving currently in edukenya. edukenya also has a skills department where we do a bit of tailoring, and also we train our parents and the community on how they can gain that skill for them to be able for them to be able to sustain themselves and to sustain their children in school. So currently we have around a total of around I'll say around 340 in total, because we have around 65 in, we have around 65 to 66 in preschool. We have around 175 in primary and around 97 at the high school.
Mm.
So we have them, our primary and preschool are day scholars. So we have them Monday to Friday, but our high school is boarding. They come home thrice a year during the holiday breaks. Yeah.
So how do you guys decide which kids, or how do the kids get involved? The children get involved with edukenya, and how do they get connected with edukenya? How do you guys select which students can come or not come, or I mean, I know that you want to serve all of them,
Mhm.
but there has to be some type of process. I just want everybody to be able to understand how this works and why it's so difficult.
Yeah, the process is quite difficult, and sometimes it's a bit disheartening
Hmm.
because edukenya, we want to give quality education. So each of our class, we take a maximum of 22. We take a maximum of 22 pupils per class. And the entry level is play group. So every year we advertise for spaces at play group level. These are children that are 3 years. And getting 22 becomes quite difficult, because sometimes you advertise, but 100 or even more than 100 parents turn up expressing wishes to have their children join our preschool. So imagine starting that process with 100, and you have to be left with only 22,
Mm.
preferably 11 boys and 11 girls. So when they come on the first day, we have to find a way of shortlisting, because sometimes they are not able to come with all the documents that we ask for, because like we need a birth certificate, we need a few information about the parents. And so just from there, we find ourselves like doing away with like 25%. So you have like now 75 parents, and you still want the 22. So we look for a few things here and there, so that we are able to at least minimize the number to around 50 or 40. And then now from there, we have to make home visits. We have to send some of our staff to visit these parents at home. to look at the home situation and actually to ascertain that they deserve a position with edukenya. From there, they come back with a report, and now it's from that report now we are able to shortlist to a level where we get the 22. It's never easy. It's never easy because we really want to serve the community. They have also seen the value that we give to the community and our journey of transformation. So turning away 78 and then taking only 22, sometimes even the community sometimes is not very happy with us because those that were disqualified were more than those that qualified. And so by human nature, more are disappointed than those that are happy with the process. So it's quite a challenge because as much as we have a lot that we can give to this community, also we are limited by factors such as space, because also we don't want to dilute the quality, and that is what even makes us like to say the number cannot go beyond 22. We do that in playgroup, and also we do the same at high school, joining grade 9 or Form 1. But now when it comes to joining high school, we give priority to those that were at our primary school. Them, they transition automatically, and then now we interview for few spaces from some of our primary school students that do not transition with us to high school. And the issues are just similar. So many parents turning up, but we don't have that space or capacity to accommodate all of them.
Yeah. I know that when I was there, both times, I mean, you and Stella shared just the importance that the home life was there to help support the process of this transformation through not only the relationship that they're building, that the foundational relationship that you're building with the children and their heavenly Father, but also just being able to support them from just wanting to do their homework and stay in front of their studies and I don't know how to ask this, but I think it's important to kind of share this is I didn't necessarily, I know when I first came there last year, I didn't understand what a slum was until I drove in and I was able to see it. And just, I mean, it's hard to explain and understand. And so maybe if you don't mind, maybe you can kind of to share a little bit about that so that the people listening to this can go, hey, look, you wanted to use education and the importance of this relationship with their heavenly Father as a way to kind of to change that mindset that this isn't as good as it gets, right? This isn't all I have to live. I mean, I think one of the things that broke my heart was when you were telling me that an old man is 30 something years old in the slums. And like, that's someone who's looked at as who's old and wise. And I'm like, that's not an old man, but you're just like, that's the average life. Like they don't live into their 40s or their 50s or 60s just because of the dangers and the things that happen and just as a whole. But to understand, so that why it's important that you do what you do as edukenya for the children, but just that transformation. So I just, if you can help me explain to them what a slum is. I mean, I hate saying that, but does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. By the way, have we had a home visit with you? Have we taken you to one of the homes when you visit
No,
us?
we have not, and I probably need to come and do that.
Yes, the next visit we are going to do a home visit so that actually you are able even to get now inside those houses and see the conditions of life. And for me, I think I'm the one who was telling you that if I went to Majengo today where I grew up, I am one of the oldest men there because the way life is, it's not supportive. Like for a male child, to just grow normally and see their old age and bring up children and see their grandchildren. It's not easy. I'd say, yeah, it's kind of not easy because of the situations of life. And like I am a statistic. I am one in very many that were not able to make it. It is not easy for a girl to get to 15, 16 years before they are mothers. So it's that serious. By 18 years, 20 years, and a girl in the slum do not have a child. Now people even they start making fun and laughing at her, like, what are you waiting for? So it is that when we come with transformation as edukenya, because what we say is that transformation actually is all about changing your perspective, changing how you look at things. We are trying to tell these people, though we are not forcing them, we are trying to tell them, actually, you can have your education, have a career, have a family in that transition, because in a slum setup, they don't know that. They don't have that information. And when our entry point is that transformation, that is our biggest strength in as far as trying to transform these slum setup, this slum lifestyle. So it's like now, if you go to, let's say, children that are around 10, they will tell you about everyone in the community that is selling drugs. They will tell you the name of those drugs, and they will tell you how to use that drug. During COVID, like, we have never recovered because of what our children, the lifestyle our children adapted during the COVID break, because they were away for almost 1 year. And when they came back, we didn't have the same children that we released to the community. We say that our community unteaches what we tell our children. Like what we tell them from 7 to 5, they'll be told the opposite until the next day that they come back to our school. So imagine having them away for a year. They are being told that drug is good. They are being told that sex is sweet. They are being told that dishonesty is good. All these things, they are being told them repetitively until, if we are not careful, they will run with them as the gospel truth. We have very dysfunctional families in the slum, where every day dads are attacking moms in front of children, where sometimes even you're dealing with scenarios where a parent has to go out at night to fend for their children, and they have to lock them in a house until morning. Imagine how dangerous is that when a 5-year-old sleeps alone for the mother to go and work. And what kind of work is that? They are going to sell their bodies. And they will come and tell you, teacher, this is the work I do. And I cannot leave this job unless you have a job for me. So even when we are working with them, because we've chosen not to judge them, we've chosen to love them unconditionally, and they will tell you, this is what I do, and if you want me to stop doing this, show me another way. And at that time, you can only continue loving them and encouraging them. But in those setups, in those houses, you saw, William, apart from the houses, not looking good, there's also a lot of things that are not good that are happening inside the houses.
How do you stay motivated? How do you stay inspired to continue to do this? I mean, this is, I don't want to, I believe that you've seen, I want to believe that you've seen more successes than you have seen failures, but without a doubt, this is an area that there's probably a lot of negatives, a lot of children that don't come back and that you wish you could get back. How do you stay, getting up in the morning and going, hey, you know what, I got to keep doing what I'm doing?
I'll say a few things keeps me motivated. Number one is I've gone through this. I've gone through this and I've made it. So it's a battle I've fought and won. I don't know whether I've won. I can't tell whether I've won, but I've been in that battlefield. So I know it's possible. So there's no room for losing hope. I'm a practical example. So if a child comes and tells me the stories you are telling us, it's not possible, I will tell them, yeah, I am. I have my photos even today that show the condition that I lived and survived. And so one of the things that keeps me very motivated is because I've been there. So you have no excuse. Our children have no excuse. And then for me, I enjoy those small wins. I enjoy those small wins. Like I saw a child, uh, they are at a space where they cannot take care of themselves. The parents are not taking care of them. But you find that girl is now in grade 6. She's 12 years old. She can wash her uniform. She can do things for herself, and that keeps me very motivated. That I know, okay, we have this child. They might be suffering, but it's just for a while. So those small wins, they really keep me motivated, and then I feel like that's where I thrive. That's the environment I thrive in. Do I wish to serve in another environment where circumstances are different? I don't think I would be of much impact if you move me from that environment and take me to a space where everything looks fine. So I'd say also with my personality, with my traits, I feel I thrive more in such an environment, and my impact is more in such an environment. So I don't think I will be happier. I don't think I will be more motivated somewhere else. It would be like taking a fish out. It's like taking a fish out of water and expecting that it will be happier because it's now outside the water, but actually it's like you are killing that fish. So I feel, for me, yeah, let God continue using me there.
That's good. That's so good, man. And I love the idea of unpacking, like, and knowing that it's our stories and it's the struggles and it's the pains that we've walked through as it's how God built us to become who we're supposed to be. It's because without it, like, I don't know who I would be if I wouldn't have gone through the things I went through and made it to where I'm at right now. Like, I don't want to be. I love who I am. I'm very happy. And so one of the things that I want to make sure that, I want to definitely continue talking about edukenya, but one of the things that you told me about when I was there the first time was this expedition that you take the high school boys on once they graduate. And so I would love for you to kind of share some stories about that if you got a sec, and have some more time here. But yeah, tell us what is that? What's the purpose of that, and what does that look like?
So in the final grade in primary school, when our kids are transitioning from primary to secondary school, we have a program that we call ROPS program. It's the rites of passage experiences. We take them through 1 year program, and then we take them for 1 week camp. So now what they do while we are having them in the campsite is for them to live out everything we are teaching them theoretically in class. So when we took them to high school, we start thinking, we are drops in class 8. What do we do for them when they transition to high school? And that is when we came up with a program called the SLP, the Senior Leadership Program. Now, this is a program specifically tailored to prepare our students for life outside high school. And it comes with a number of activities, because the climax of the Senior Leadership Program is for us to climb Mount Kenya. So we have a 5-day experience where we get to the peak of Mount Kenya, and then we come back. But before that, we visit Hell's Gate, and also we visit the Aberdare. We visit Aberdare. Now, these are just activities to prepare them to climb Mount Kenya. And every time we go there are activities. Like now in Hell's Gate, there is a rock. I hope you have these terms. I think we call it repelling, something repelling, going up and coming down from that rock. And it comes with a number of lessons. One of the lessons is conquering fear. Another lesson is showing them that everything is possible, showing them that actually they have potential beyond what even they can imagine. When we take them to the Aberdares, we have like a 2-day camp there, where we take them through very intentional and one-on-one sessions to really prepare them and to know where they are in as far as life after high school is concerned. And then now we take them to April. Actually, we are going to Mount Kenya for the Senior Leadership Program. And those 5 days, it's just wonderful moment of fellowship as we go up Mount Kenya, and as we come down, we affirm them, we have them think about their life up to where they are, life after high school, and also to show them that our love towards them is unconditional, that there is nothing that they are going to go through or nothing that they are going to experience that will change how we value and how we view them. And now what we are doing, we've gone beyond just waiting for our children to get to Form 4, which is the final class in high school, for us to start empowering them for life. Now we are having camps. We are partnering with one of our, we call him our patron, because he has been there, he has seen it, and he also have a lot of interest in camping, in mentorship. So we've come up with a program whereby each and every year we are taking our children for a 1-week camp where they spend time together. We spend time with them outside school, outside the curriculum, as we prepare and nurture them for life. And which life is this? We want them to be transformational agents. We want them to win as many souls for the kingdom as possible. So our senior leadership program is evolving and improving every day, but the climax at the end of the day is us climbing Mount Kenya and coming back.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm hoping that I can make that climb with you guys one day soon. I'm actually, we talked about this. I'm my trip in October is to come back and to bring a group of men from America to come over and do a leadership retreat there in Kenya. So I'm working and putting that together right now. We're probably going to climb Mount Longonot. We want to go to Hell's Gate. And so I have a whole kind of agenda that I'm working on right now and some curriculum for that. But it without a doubt spoke to me when you started sharing that the first time I was there, just how intentional you guys are, and how you have embraced this desire of not just encouraging men, but also realizing that, hey, I've got to do it for these young men as they graduate from high school and help them be more prepared. Because yes, it's great that I'm doing it for guys that are already in their 20s and 30s and outside of that high school area. But what happens if I get them and I'm able to impart these same values in them at that age? And so just seeing that is really, really awesome. I love the idea of the senior leadership program. So how does the senior leadership program, and can you tell me a little bit about what you do with the Men Enough Facilitator? What exactly is that, and what does that program look like?
Okay, so the senior leadership program, basically we come together, we look at our students. Every class is very unique. So what we give for one class and what we give for another class is the same, but we allow room to make sure that we reach to every class depending on their individual unique needs. So we are preparing. We know that we are prepared now. Like when we look at our current Form 4, it's very different from the Form 4 that transitioned out. It's a class with 20 boys and 10 girls. So it is very male dominated. And so we have to really be intentional with how we handle our girls and how we handle our boys. And then we have our 7 transformational milestones as edukenya. They really help in guiding us to really inspire those boys and tell them this is the kind of a person that God wants you to be. Now, when it comes to Man Enough, Man Enough is a purely male program. And I think the founder realized that there is a need for a space for men just to be men, where men will not feel judged, where men can sit and speak, and from a level of trusting another man and saying, this is what I am going through. But the intention is that men will be grounded in the word of God. So we have 10 weeks where we have a topic for every week. And also we go for a camp, we go for paintballing. We have a topic called the Wounded Warrior. So before we do Wounded Warrior, because we are dealing with men wounds, and men have wounds and they don't have a space to speak about those wounds. When I was starting, I was saying that I'm not sure whether I've healed the wound of being separated from my mother while I was still very young, and there are a number of things I couldn't do for myself. And whenever I don't know whether I have that space to raise it, because for them, they wanted me to be somewhere where I could benefit from a scholarship. So they feel very justified because here was our child, here was an opportunity for our child to get sponsored. So men have those wounds. Men have challenges with issues like sex. Men have challenges with identity. Men, they want to live for something. They want to leave a legacy.
Mm-hmm.
So we come together as men and speak. We have been brought together by a church. It is the church hosting us, but also telling us, realizing that actually it's good to have a space where men will sit and with a lot of soberness speak about issues that affect a male. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I went through that program, I felt this is where I want to serve. So immediately I graduated, I went back and requested to be a facilitator. And whenever I'm facilitating, I continue learning every day from other men
Mm-hmm.
stories, because even you benefit more because now there you keep quiet and listen.
Mm-hmm.
So them sharing and speaking and you asking God for wisdom so that at least you have a way to run the program, and you have a way that men will feel like actually when I said this, I was not judged and I was shown a better way of dealing with it, or how to get out of it. So I'll say it's quite a good structured program, and whenever I'm serving in that space of a facilitator, those 10 weeks, they really minister to me.
That's awesome. Well, I've only got a couple more questions that I want to ask, and really so this first one here is, what advice would you give to somebody that's aspiring to be a trailblazer, that really wants to live a life that is creating a path for others to follow? So they're just starting on this journey of becoming a trailblazer. What advice would you give to them?
I'll tell them to be available. Just be available.
Good.
Don't don't wait until you are perfect. Don't wait until you have sorted this and that issue. Avail yourself. Just making that step to be available, you are a trailblazer.
That's good. I love that. That's so strong. That's going to be the quote of the podcast. Be available.
Be
That is,
available, yes.
I love that, man.
Because
I love that.
there is no day that the moment will be perfect.
Hmm.
Yeah, there is no time the moment will be perfect. So just avail yourself. Don't keep on saying, okay, wait until I will be joining in August. I will be. Just avail yourself and let everything else shape itself out when you have just made the choice to avail yourself.
That's good. That's so good. All right. Last question I have. Well, maybe not last one, but what do you consider your legacy to be, and how do you hope to be remembered?
For me, I wish to be remembered. I wish to be remembered as that person. How do I put it? I don't want to be remembered as a person that achieved so much. I want to be remembered as a person that individuals will say, I saw light because of
Mm,
this man. I don't want to be remembered as he ran a successful school. He ran a successful organization. That is not my key purpose. My key purpose is that individuals would say, I once sat with a certain man and he told me this, and he encouraged me when I was going through very hard moments. So I want to touch lives individually. So I would like to be remembered as a person that individuals can say, I was almost losing hope. But when I had an opportunity to share a space with this man, I felt encouraged. I felt that I matter. I felt that I am loved, and I felt that I'm seen, and that God really, really loves me. For me, that is what I would like to be remembered.
That's good, man. That's so good. Thank you so much for sharing that. Well, Michael, do you have anything else that you would like to share, man? I mean, I'll just give you the microphone, man. If there's anything you would like to say, even if it's about, how can people support Edukenya? What are the things that you need? What do you need for your ministry, the Man Enough? And just I'm gonna give you the microphone and let you just have at it for a couple minutes here, man.
For me, maybe just to say, number one, be available. Number two, Edukenya, visit our website, see the many things that we are doing for the community. We pray that as you visit us and go through our socials, God will show you a space where you can plug in. So if you see the many things that we do, Edukenya, we are an open book. Feel free to reach out to us, and also we really love visitors. We appreciate when we share moments, and we share life with visitors, either in either of our campuses. So if you find yourself in Kenya, we are very ready, willing, and will be very happy to host you in one of our schools. Just come, let's spend a day there, minister to those children, and God will continue blessing us. So they say, as a trailblazer, we just continue supporting each other, and whenever as things continue unfolding, I'll say we are together, and we continue talking more. Yeah, and I also really appreciate William for this space where we can sit, and we hope that someone somewhere will be blessed by this podcast.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
thank you, man. And I know that you guys are in the process of building a new high school, which I'm excited to have. I mean, I was there last year when we went and walked the space and prayed over the space, and and so it's exciting. And where exactly are y'all in that process? How's that coming?
So we are still discussing the drawings,
Okay.
and yeah, we are making a few changes here and there. Resource-wise, we are still mobilizing for resources,
Mm-hmm.
and also trying to, like, now we were consolidating our buildings so that at least we are able to cut down on cost, because it's also coming in quite expensive. So we are also in that process of looking out for ways to make the project a bit cheaper, but still we're in those stages of discussing the drawings, and also now trying to see how we start mobilizing for resources.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, and I'll make sure that when we put the show up, that we put links to Edukenya, your social media, and stuff like that, so that people can get online and find different ways to support. I know that when I was there just a few weeks ago, well, last week, yeah, it's not even 2 weeks; it's only been like a week. That Michael, one of the guys that was with us, Michael Hendrickson, we're actually going to be providing, like, I think a special meal for the children at the school
No,
one
yeah,
day. We're
yeah,
going to do something specifically for that. So
yeah,
we're just
yeah.
excited to be a part of this. You know, going there and being at edukenya, and seeing what you guys are doing is without a doubt, is changing lives. It's changed my life.
Mm,
And just and I'm excited to be a part of it, and I'm excited to have you as a friend and a brother, and knowing that we have a desire to just make a difference in this world, and to be available. I love that you said that. One of the most important things we can do is just be available, because there is no perfect time, there is no perfect moment.
mm.
It's an imperfect world, and we're imperfect people, and so we have to embrace those things. So thank you, Michael, for being here. Thank you for jumping on the podcast today with me. I can't think of anything else unless you have something else, man.
No, thank you too, and welcome, and also thank you for this moment. Actually, it's my first podcast.
It's okay. Well, you did great, man. And I have to be honest, you were an amazing guest, and you this was probably my favorite podcast so far. Just just because of the common threads that we have, and the desires that we have. I have a coaching and consulting company, and my focus is helping and working with men to become the leaders that they're called to be. And I have a small group that I lead, and it's all about men stepping up and becoming the leaders they're called to be, and becoming and I want to build a world of men that are confident and equipped to do the good work. My favorite verse, and almost my life verse, is 2 Timothy 3:17, and it says, so that the men of God will be complete and fully equipped to do good work. And I believe that my calling and my place on earth is to helpfully build up men that are complete and fully equipped to do the good work that God's called them to do. And I may not be able to do that in the whole world, but I can do it in the world that I've been given responsibility for. So thank you so much for being here today, man. Once again, thank you for what you're doing in the lives of those children, and the impact that you're having in your world. And with that, I guess that's all I got. All right, man.
Thank you, and
No, thank you,
welcome.
man. Asante.
Okay,
All right. Have a great one, man. I will talk to you soon, brother.
okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
Okay, bye.
Bye, man. Talk to you later.